Hey, it's me, Vicky Marie. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in this crazy world that we're living in. Oh, just when you think it can't get any crazier, yep, it does. Anyway, oh, there you go, there's all my notifications coming on. So, what I'm going to talk about in this video, I, I think it started with the Huw Edwards. For those of you who are out there, if you don't know who Huw Edwards is, Huw Edwards is is trying to be again, a TV presenter for the BBC. Let's have a look at Huw Edwards. Now, Huw was Mr. How can I explain what Huw Edwards was like to people who didn't know what he was like? So, yeah, very respected, long-term presenter on the BBC. He was earning about £250,000 a year, I think. You know, he was literally one of their most notable presenters. So sort of respected. He was the one that was chosen to report the death of Queen Elizabeth, report on the funeral. So family man, Welsh, married, 3 children, I think. Oh, you know, paragon of virtue. Prissy Huw, he would tell us all about religion and, you know, what a perfect man he was. And anyway, then it turns out that actually he's been soliciting nude pictures from a teenager, a male teenager, and also he was in possession of child P on his phone of really quite high grade. You know, I mean, I know they grade it, and you just think it shouldn't be graded really, just even having anything on there. On your phone that's to do with children and sex should be high grade. But anyway, yeah, and he was convicted. I think he pled guilty. We're going to look at that later, the full circumstances. But he didn't get prison. Oh no, he toddled off there to court with his suitcase, just in case he was given a prison sentence. But no, people like Huw Edwards don't get prison sentences, do they? People like you and me, our family, our friends, would have got a prison sentence for what Huw Edwards did, but not BBC presenters, you know, not professional people, high incomes. Some of them don't even get taken to court in the first place, like Andrew, formerly known as Prince. You know, I'm surprised Huw Edwards even got taken to court, to be honest. But he didn't get a prison sentence. He's on bail or what, parole? What has he got? A suspended sentence? We'll read about that anyway. So he's probably out on license or whatever. I don't know. Anyway, he's trying to make a comeback. Because what he's telling us is the fact he's actually gay, or at the least bisexual. It's a mental illness. And he is in a perfect place to talk about mental illness. So he's taking the Margaret Thatcher line towards being gay. Homosexuality apparently is a mental illness, not you know, the way he is, or, you know, like a normal way to be, if you like. It is normal. It's normal for a lot of people, you know. So, but not Huw. No, it's mental illness. And he's gone on this Substack that we're going to talk about what Substack is, where you can blog away, say whatever you like, more or less. And he's decided to go on there. So that was the first thing that I saw. And I was thinking, oh, I'm going to do a video about that. I can't believe he's saying that. I mean, it was more for me, like the fact he was saying that being, you know, that he had a mental illness. Makes me really angry, that. And, you know, if I was gay, I would be really, really angry, because what he's saying is basically, no, I asked for those photos of the young lad, not because I'm gay, but because I've got a mental illness. So not even owning his own character. Do you know what I mean? His own, you know, if he's gay or bisexual, that's the way he is. Nobody hates him for that, or certainly I don't hate him for that. I hate him for having child porn on his phone. And being, imagine how long he's been married and he's got 3 adult children, and he's going out there telling us all how to live our life and what a brilliant sort of religious man he is. He was, I tell you, Welsh people would be outraged, because Huw Edwards was also like a bit of an epitome of a Wales boy done good, you know what I mean? Like, sort of, you know, a representative of Wales, all that's good about Wales. And look at, you know, this man had feet of clay. So, you know, that's what annoys me. I don't care if he's gay or if he's bisexual or whatever he is. But what I do care about is that he's lied to his wife for God knows how many years. Imagine covering up a life like that. Because not only, you know, really being gay, but you're living this life, you know, with your family, because you don't want to admit you're gay because it's a mental illness. But also it's soliciting photos from teenage boys having child pee on his phone, you know, having illicit meetings with men and boys, you know, likes them young, argue. Doing all that, and in the meantime having this sort of surface happy family life as, you know, this Mr. respectability. Do you know what I mean? That's what it's the duplicitousness of it that gets me, you know, not whether I don't care what his sexuality is. Anyway, so that's how it started. I saw that. I thought, right, I'm going to do a video about that. And then, lo and behold, who else pops up on Substack but this woman? Now, I don't know if any of you remember this case. This is Casey Anthony, and we're going to talk about what she allegedly, and I can't even say allegedly, this woman, she was found innocent. You know, she was found not guilty, let's say, in the end, of the murder of her own daughter. Now, she was found not guilty. We have to remember that. But, you know, we're going to watch Nancy Grace. She's brilliant. You know, she just sums this horrible woman up completely. So this was her 2-year-old daughter, Caylee Anthony. And look at her, bless her little heart. Anyway, she went missing. But this mother did not report her missing. She disappeared one day. Quite a long time ago now. Casey would be 20-something now. Caylee would be 20-something if she had lived past the age of 2. This woman, her own mother, didn't report her missing. And when she finally reported her missing, it was because her mother, the grandmother of Caylee, you know, I think it was them that reported her missing in the end. She was on a bender. She was off having a great time, you know, with her boyfriend, with lots of men and women. You know, there's photos of her. She's just boozing it up, partying, dancing, having a brilliant time. Meantime, her daughter's missing. And finally, little Caylee was found murdered. She had duct tape around her mouth. Her remains were finally found. And of course, suspicion went on. It was thought that Casey had probably done it. imagine, I mean, there are a lot of reasons why, you know, people might murder their child, but, you know, just so they can go for a month's bender. Anyway, the other thing that characterizes this horrible woman, because as I say, she was found guilty, but I heard on the Nancy Grace podcast, she was talking to the judge in the case, and the judge said when they brought the verdict in, he had to read it twice because he could not believe what he was seeing, that it was not guilty. The judge said that. How she was found not guilty, I've no idea. She threw her own father under the bus. She virtually accused him of it. She destroyed her family. All she cared about was her. She didn't care about Caylee. It was all about, oh, my life's been ruined, you know, that typical narcissistic. I've had everything taken away from me. My life's ruined. Blah, de, blah, de, bloody, blah, de, blah. Anyway, she was found innocent. Since then, she's done all sorts of things since then, and we'll look at that. Now it turns out she's coming back on Substack as well. She's created a Substack account. What is Substack? The place where all the, you know, people who can't get a voice anywhere else go because they're twonks. Anyway, she's written a book. Oh, yeah, you could not make this shit up. So instead of being grateful for the fact that she was found not guilty, because, you know, she can sue me if she wants in my eyes. She's 100% guilty of the murder of this beautiful little girl. 100% murdered her own daughter. And she's probably convinced herself now that she didn't do it. And this was a massive case at the time. I don't think there was social media then like there is now, but it still managed to be one of those huge cases, you know, that was all over the news. Everybody knew about this case. I remember it, and I wasn't even doing true crime then. You know, it was just one of those cases, this beautiful little girl, and then all the fuss about the grandparents. And, you know, these grandparents, Casey Anthony's parents, they do bear responsibility because she was so indulged by them. No one had ever said no to Casey Anthony. So when little Caylee got in her way, you know, it's a bit like Preston Davey and the, except she was the biological mother. Oh, they'll be on Substack, will they, eventually? Is that where we'll be seeing Preston Davies murderers or murderers of other people all coming out on Substack to reinvent themselves? Anyway, that's what she's doing. And the other thing she's done, which is ironic, because when you think you've got Huw Edwards, who is gay, sort of almost saying that no, you know, he's not coming out with the LGBTQ community and, you know, going to gay pride marches or whatever. Even though he is gay, he's saying it's mental illness. And then you've got this woman. She's allied herself now with the LG. You know, I don't know how the gay community feel about it, but I'll tell you what, I'd be pretty fucking annoyed. I'd be sending her emails and saying, don't try and identify with me, or, you know, try and... Why is she doing that? So she's identified herself not as gay, but with the community. Does she think she's going to get sympathy from that side of society? I mean, why was she doing that? So, wait to see her Substack. So once you bear in mind that she's the woman who probably, I think 99% certain, actually murdered her own daughter, why isn't she aligning herself with causes for children, for murdered children or kidnapped children or abused children? Or, oh no, she's not doing that, you know, and yet it's her daughter who somebody murdered. If she's saying she didn't do it, if she was saying she was abused by her stepdad, Cool, because this is all the things she came out with. She destroyed her family. She's a horrible, horrible woman. Why didn't she align herself with children's causes? No, she's aligned herself with the gay community. Why? And how are they reacting to it? I wonder if any of you are out there. How do you feel about? You know, I know I have a lot of people watch my channel from that community. I thank you for watching. But how do you feel about that? I'm just thinking, oh my God, I don't even like the thought that she's a woman. You know, never, you know, that I've got to think, oh God, this is a woman who's done this. You know, and I'm a woman, that feels bad enough. But if she's then trying to align herself with me, identify with me and my sort of situation, oh my God. Well, you know, you wouldn't be happy, would you? Or would you? I don't know. How do people feel about it? You know, I'm sure LGBT, the gay community wants nice people to come out in support of them, not child murderers. So that's what we're going to talk about. Anyway, first of all, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for liking. Thank you for all the positive ways you help my channel. Please leave your DNA on the subscribe button and the like button and the share button. And special thank you to those of you who go a bit further for supporting my channel. Thank you to all my members. Love you all. Thank you to those of you who bought me Ko-fis. Thank you so much. Sent super stickers, etc. Shown appreciation of my channel. I appreciate it. I appreciate you. Thank you, each and every one of you. Hello, you lovely lurkers. Thanks for watching. Hello to a replay crew, because some of you will be watching this later. Hello. And let's see. Some people are in the chat chatting. Let's have a look who's around. Hope you're all enjoying your weekends. Hey, Lily. Hi, Kelly. Hi, David. Yes. Huw Edwards, he should have gone to jail. Any other person would have gone to prison. He had serious child P on his phone. Greg Wallace is another one, but he's not. I mean, Huw Edwards is especially bad. I've still got a picture of Huw Edwards somewhere showing his ass because he was sending. I mean, this. You know, his self-monitoring is ridiculous. But you know, this is a narcissistic trait. He doesn't see. He's prissy Huw Edwards, who, you know, for ages has been on the BBC, you know, telling us all how to live our lives with his immaculate cufflinks and this, that, and the other. His perfect family life. Go to church, do this, do that. But he can't see now. He's like, he can't not be in the public eye. Do you understand? So that's not a narcissistic tendency. I mean, he's got plenty of money. I think the BBC had to pay him like a cut-off fee, didn't they, or whatever. I don't know if he's ever paid that back. There was a big thing about he should pay it back. Because, of course, the BBC is owned by the people who pay their licenses. And, you know, people are feeling that they're just paying their license fee to support predators. Anyway, so I don't think he's trying to make, it's not a money thing, I don't think, with Huw. And that's how he was buying nude photos from the young lad, wasn't it? Because the young lad wanted the money and he was sending him £200 here, £200 there for a nude picture or whatever. And he was only caught in the end because that young lad's parents found out what had been going on. and went to the BBC. BBC did nothing. And then the parents saw Huw Edwards accepting an award on the telly after they'd been to the BBC and complained about him, being a predator as far as their young son was concerned. He was above the legal age. I think he was 17. And so they went to the newspapers because the BBC was doing nothing. Anyway, that's how he got caught, wasn't it? So, so I don't think it's a money reason that Huw Edwards is doing it. He just is such a narcissist, such a sociopath. He can't bear not being in the public eye. And he wants to put his side of it over. Why doesn't he just keep a low profile? They can't, these people. The same with Casey Anthony. She's lucky enough to get away with murdering her own daughter. You think she'd just, keep a low profile, but no, she's got to be in the public eye. Anyway, just ridiculous. Exactly. The thing is, there are PDFs in every walk of life. This is it. Not only gay people are PDFs, not only men are PDFs, women can be PDFs. Anyone can be a bloody PDF, it feels like. Honestly, the more you look into this, you think, God, you'd be quicker thinking who isn't a PDF. In famous people, I feel like fame, sometimes it just makes people go a bit, is it because people maybe have these dark thoughts, but when they're just like ordinary people and they've not got loads of money and stuff, that they just keep them to themselves? But it seems like when people get famous and get money and power, they just like go for it then, don't they? Anyway, yeah, Casey Anthony, I don't think Casey Anthony, maybe these days, would she have got off with it? I just feel the prosecution must have been pretty crap. Because, as I said, the judge himself had to read this before he read it out to the public gallery, because he just could not believe that she'd been found not guilty. So if that defense managed to convince the jury that Casey, so it wasn't only a hung jury, it was not guilty. And when you look at it, now, if you just can't believe she could have been found not guilty. But though something went wrong in that case, isn't it? So, I don't know, something went wrong. And, she was found not guilty, so she's entitled to live a life how she wants to, isn't she, under the eyes of the law? Now, in the eyes of the public, however, I think it was like the O.J. Simpson case. It was on that par, wasn't it? Somebody being found innocent of something that they clearly were guilty of. Would it happen nowadays with the advances we've got with DNA and stuff like that? I don't know. Because you when we've covered any case that we've covered, you're never sure, are you? How the defense will present, how the will the prosecution be good enough to secure a prosecution? Because, of course, really, it's not the defendant doesn't have to prove anything. It's the prosecution that has to prove that they've done it, not so much they've got to prove they didn't do it. So, yeah, I don't know if that case was talked about now, was now, whether she would have been found innocent. She's certainly guilty in the eyes of the public, I think. And I can't even say, it's a shame if she's innocent, because I just don't think she is. So, that's my opinion. She can sue me. She probably will. I don't know. Just, I couldn't give a toss, to be honest. I'd do a crowdfunding for my defense. I think I'd get, I think I'd do quite well if I had to do a crowdfunding to defend myself against Casey Anthony. Yes, much harder now to get away with crimes. So this is my point. So she should just count herself lucky, in my opinion, that she did get away with it, and keep a low profile and try and make up for it before she meets her maker. And then she will have to pay for what she did. She knows what she did to that little girl. She knows. Casey Anthony knows what she did, but she may well have actually convinced even herself that she didn't do it now, because she's such a narcissist, such a sociopath. They can do that. She's probably convinced herself. Anyway, so let me take my banner off, and I'm going to go through these two cases sort of briefly. I'm just going to read about them on AI. Some of you won't know about Huw Edwards. If you're not in the UK, maybe you don't know about what happened with Huw Edwards. And then there'll be some of you that, because the Casey Anthony case, it was a famous case, but it's quite a long time ago, might not know about that. So I'm going to I will be going through their cases very briefly. But first of all, I want to tell you about Substack. So this is now, what is Substack? Some of you may know. I don't know if any of you have got an account with Substack or follow anybody who's on there. I've got an account on there because I do follow someone who's on there, but maybe I should, I never put blogs up or anything, but it's really for blogging. Let me just read out to you. So this is the AI overview of Substack. In fact, I'll share this. Now, this is, the thing is, free speech, all that. Everybody's entitled to a platform, aren't they? In this world that we live in now, we live in the world of social media. One of the benefits of social media is free speech. We can come on and we can chat about things. Nobody's interested in watching the news anymore, at the mainstream news, really, are they? Just maybe sort of occasionally, because you don't believe anything they say on there. The good thing about social media is you can give your own views. No matter whether, at the end of the day, we've all got our views and we can't agree on everything. But of course, so Substack is one of those sort of platforms where anyone can go on, create a profile, start blogging. It's a blogging platform. And yeah, it's popular. You can make money off it, apparently, because you can put your blogs behind a paywall. Some people, that's probably what she's doing. I don't know what both of them, and maybe not. I don't think they'll put their blogs behind a paywall because they're not on there to earn money, I don't think. They're almost on there to exonerate themselves or to tell everybody what a great person they are. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, so what it says about Substack, let's have a look. So this is the AI overview. Substack is an online publishing platform. It combines blogging, podcasting, I didn't know it had podcasts on it, and video, it says. I must have a look. I mean, I have got an account on there, but I don't think I've ever actually uploaded anything. With built-in email newsletters. That's interesting. It allows independent writers and creators to publish content directly to their audience's inboxes while offering simple tools to monetize their work through paid subscriptions. So that's what it is. Core features: direct ownership. Creators own their content and their subscriber email lists, and it gives them a direct access to their audience without relying on social media algorithms. Now, I think the newsletter is interesting because I've often thought, it'd be nice to put out a newsletter sometimes, letting people know what's going on, etc. So I think, it's Listen, there's loads of people on Substack that aren't PDFs or child murderers, you know, that have interesting things to say about whatever their pet subject is, and their followers look forward to their content. So media monetization. Writers can offer content for free, or they can lock exclusive posts behind a paywall and charge a monthly or yearly subscription fee. For example, $5 a month. Substack takes a 10% cut of subscription revenue. Media flexibility. Beyond written newsletters, the platform supports integrated podcasts, video hosting, and photo posts. Community tools. Creators can host subscriber-only discussion threads, private chats, and publish notes. A short-form posting feature similar to social media feeds. Who uses it? It is primarily used by independent journalists, subject matter experts, novelists, and creators who want to build a dedicated following directly and bypass traditional publishing gatekeepers. And then it goes on to tell you how to get started, etc. You know, this will be what is the point of Substack? What is the point of Substack? Modern publishing. Now, until a couple of years ago, what's the downside of Substack? So it says, while Substack is incredibly popular, creators frequently run into limitations with cost, marketing features, and lack of design flexibility. Limited marketing tools. Anyway, that's what Substack is. Now, I'm not saying that everyone on Substack is on there because they can't get on anywhere else, or no other place will accept them. But I do feel with Casey Anthony and Huw Edwards, you know, I'm sure if they thought they could go on YouTube, or I think she is on TikTok as well, Casey Anthony. I don't know why they're on Substack, why they've chosen Substack. Because obviously the more common platforms is YouTube and TikTok. But, you know, TikTok's not for everyone. I personally don't like TikTok at all. Then there's Rumble, of course. So the thing is, it's huge now, isn't it? There's so many different platforms. Reddit, you name it. There's loads of different platforms. There's platforms I don't even know about. So you've got like Twitch. You've got, what's that other weird one? Oh God. There's loads. I mean, you can't keep up with them all, really. So people's opinions and thoughts, they're diffused over so many platforms. But probably the biggest platforms are like X, Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok. Would you say they're the biggest platforms at the moment? You know, and they're replacing, you know, this is why normal mainstream media is just dead, really, isn't it? Hi, Daniel. You know, even older people now, like me, you know, like it's not just young people that are going on social media. Everyone's on social media. People are watching YouTube. They're not watching the telly. I can honestly say, well, the only thing I've watched on the telly over the last week, probably, I watched England play last night, which, well, I watched the first half of it. I had to go and get number one son from work, so I missed the goals. So I watched the first half when there's no goals. Of course, as soon as I get in the car and start driving, there's 2 goals. Anyway, I don't mind as long as we won, but that's all I've watched on the TV. Apart from that, I'm on YouTube if I'm watching anything, or Netflix. I've signed off Netflix for now. That's what I do with Netflix. I come and go with it. I join for a month or catch up on everything that I've missed. And then I, cancel my subscription then till the next time I want to go back on there. That's what I do with Netflix. See, that's the other thing you can do. You can't do that with your BBC license, can you? You can do that with my membership. With YouTube memberships, you can sign up for a month and, watch all the members' videos and then that are on there, and then you can sign off again. You don't, you've not got not got to sign up for a year, like you have with the BBC license fee, etc. And people are peed off with the BBC because of things like Huw Edwards. And I still rather watch the football on the BBC, obviously, because there's no adverts. So the ITV coverage has been really good, but the adverts just drive you mad, don't they? But and there's all good things on the BBC that I like to watch sometimes. But luckily for me, I don't have to pay a license because I'm in Spain. We get it through cable. I don't really know how it works, but anyway, we do get all the English channels. So that's lucky for me that I don't have to pay a BBC license. I think if I was in the UK, I wouldn't be paying it, So yeah, so TV is sort of almost dead, really. It's not dead yet. I suppose some people still watch TV. But, as far as news is concerned, the other thing is you don't ever feel like you get the real story on the news. So even if I watch a news story on the mainstream media, I still have to go on social media to sort of look at it and, try and get other views about it, etc. So that is what Substack is. And now I just want to show you somebody who's just recently gone on. So Farage has just joined up on Substack on the 13th of June. Look, the mainstream media constantly distorts what I say. You can no longer rely on them to report the truth. That's why I've decided to speak to you directly and launch my essays to Britain on Substack. Oh, brilliant. Read my first post out tomorrow at 8 a.m. Now, of course, I'm being sarcastic. I can't stand Nigel Farage. I'd rather put pins in my eyes than read his essays. But there will be people out there who like him and they'll be wanting to read his essays, and fair enough, that's it. So Nigel Farage is on there now. I'm just thinking who's going to be on there next, like, is Donald Trump on there? I mean, it's like, what, we're going to get murderers as soon as they come out of prison, they're going to go straight to Substack. Anyway, so that's Nigel Farage. But so let's have a look. We're going to look first at, let me just put, I need to put some windows down. I've got too many windows. I was looking at some other things. Oh, but, I can't talk about everything, can I? So Huw Edwards, I'm just going to give you the AI summary of Huw Edwards. What, for those of you who maybe don't know this case. So Huw Edwards is a Welsh former journalist. He was one of the most recognisable faces on British television. So really, he's like the modern day Jimmy Savile, I think. Loads of other Huw Edwards. I mean, I think he was in his 60s, was he? Before he was caught. So he's not just suddenly started, being interested in child porn at the age of 60, whatever. He'll have been doing it all his life. He's only just got caught. You think he would just be quiet, wouldn't you? He's lucky he never went to prison. Why can't he just keep his mouth shut? This is a sociopath. He needs attention. He's craving attention. And also he's craving, he wants to say he's got mental illness. So you should feel sorry for him. It's like, oh, I've got mental illness. Yeah, whatever. So he was famously broadcasting major national events such as royal weddings, funerals, and announcing the death of Queen Elizabeth II. I sat with my son, we sat and watched that. You remember that, the day the Queen died? It's all Liz Truss's fault. Liz Truss had been round to see her, hadn't she? God, that'd finish anyone off, wouldn't it? And the poor Queenie, she died. And I remember sitting there watching it at some point. So he went and changed his tie. He put on a black tie. But apparently, even as he was reporting on the death of Queen Elizabeth and on Queen Elizabeth's funeral, he was texting teenagers and asking for nude photos, or sending them soppy messages. It's disgusting. So his career ended abruptly following a major scandal involving criminal offences related to child sex abuse material. 2024, Edwards pleaded guilty to 3 counts of making indecent images of children. The court heard he accessed 41 illegal images sent to him via WhatsApp by a convicted sex offender. The collection included 7 Category A images. Category A, the highest, most serious, depicting children as young as 7 years old. He didn't sentence. They don't care about children in the UK. And really, where was the outrage? Because he's not. He's one of. So God, if he, all over the place. And don't forget, the other thing is they didn't even name him for quite a long time when he first got charged. So there was a lot of aspersions cast on other presenters because nobody knew who it was. They just knew it was some famous BBC. He was in the lineup, Graham Norton. No, because lack of information leads to speculation, doesn't it? So because nobody thought it would be Huw Edwards. I remember finding out it was Huw Edwards. I was like, what? Out of all the presenters you would have imagined it might have been, you would never have imagined it would be him. Because he was so respectable. So on September the 16th, 2024, he was handed a 6-month prison sentence. So even if he would have gone to prison, it was only for 6 months. So you can have child porn on your phone. If you're someone like Charles Bronson, who went go against the establishment, or if you rob a train like the train robbers, or if you, oh God, yeah, you're in prison for life. But you can have child abuse images on your phone. You only get 6 months if you're Huw Edwards. And then he didn't even, that was suspended for 2 years. He's placed on the sex offenders register for 7 years. Why only 7 years? Why not for the rest of his life? Ordered to complete 25 rehabilitation sessions. Really, he's not going to get rehabilitated at his age, is he? And mandated to participate in an sex offender treatment program. Ooh, gosh, that's a deterrent, isn't it? Good God. I don't know if you saw the downfall of Huw Edwards, this documentary they're talking about. It's very good. Martin Clunes, very good actor. So it says here in June 2026, so just now, Edwards attempted a public return by launching a commentary blog on the online platform Substack. The move, Substack will be made up because everyone who's never heard of Substack before will be on there. The move sparked heavy criticism from child abuse prevention campaigners and the public, who have condemned it as inappropriate and disrespectful. He doesn't care. He only cares about himself. He's the victim as far as he's concerned. And they said he's showing a lack of remorse and awareness. But he's defended the blog, stating it's intended to focus on current affairs and mental health awareness, drawing from his own experiences with major depressive disorders. Oh my God. Oh my God, he is such a twonk. Such a twonk. Why has he done that? Well, because he's a twonk, I suppose. I'm answering my own question. So let's have a look at his Substack. Huw Edwards. The Huw. Doesn't that even just his handle there? The Huw. He's not only Huw, he's the Huw. The one and only Huw. You know, that's like, you know, it's funny because he wants to come and live in, well, I hope he doesn't come and live in Spain. But quite often in Spain, they call you, like they call me La Vicky. La Vicky, the Vicky, you know, as if there's only one. That's not me calling myself that. That's what they call me because that's the way they talk in Spain. You know, they might say, La Inglesa, the English woman, or La Guapa, the attractive one, or La Pelirroja, the redhead, La Rubia, or you know, I'm just using feminine descriptions there, but, or they'll use El Rubio or El Juan, you know. So they do that in Spain, but we don't do that in the UK, do we? But he does it because he is not only Huw, he is the Huw, the one and only. So, not sure what this picture is supposed to be. Well, it's, I can see where it is. On remorse. I don't know what that means. Is that a post? I'm almost frightened to go in it. Let's. I don't. Oh, he's not. They're not allowing comments. I don't. Either nobody's commented or he's blocked comments. Another post. A few early morning thoughts from West Wales on events in distant Westminster. He's having a go about Andy Burnham. Well, I can't stand Andy Burnham. I'm sorry to say I actually agree with him on that. But who is he? Who is he to judge anything? Do you know what I mean? It's like, who are you? You know, when you've done what he's done, who is he to criticise Andy Burnham? Much as I can't stand Andy Burnham and what he's done. What right has he got to criticise anybody? So, is I'm going to go about that. What else? Somebody there putting it up there that is... Anyway. Oh, great. Huw Edwards has joined Substack and wants to talk about mental health. Right, actually, I don't know if am I actually in his... I want to be in his... yeah. So these are the... So some posts... Yes, I'm going to go about Andy Burnham. Putting a picture there, putting it in Welsh. Welcome in Welsh. What is the purpose of this? What is the purpose of it? Huw. Oh, he's on LinkedIn as well. He's on LinkedIn, and he's the Huw on LinkedIn as well, because he is the Huw. There is no other Huw. Only him. Oh my God. What's he going to put as his profession? PDF? It's asking me to sign in. I don't do LinkedIn. Oh, view Huw's full experience. Sign in. I know what Huw's experience is. Was he going to apply for a job as a PDF? Oh my God, this man has got no shame. So I'll tell you what, he's not aligning himself with the gay community because not gay, he's got mental illness. But he is still aligning himself with the Welsh flag. Now, if I was Welsh, wouldn't be happy about that at all. You know, there he was. He was like, what's the words I'm looking? You know, Welsh people would have held him up as an example of a good example of a Welsh person. Not anymore. Oh my God. You've got to join to view the profile. I don't want to see his profile. About BBC News trainee from 1984 to 1985. Oh, I know, it won't let me look at it without actually signing in. I'm not signing in, so yeah. What a twonk. What an absolute twonk he is. How dare he? Anyway, let me know what you think. So that's Huw Edwards. So he's trying to reinvent himself on Substack. So as I say, I saw that first of all. I thought, oh, I'm going to do a video on that. I can't believe he's doing that. Then the next minute pops up about Casey Anthony. She's on Substack as well. So what is it? Substack's turned into the place where all the PDFs and child murderers go to make blogs. You know, like what? So I'm going to give you a little review of what happened with Casey Anthony. Again, I'm just going to read it off the AI summary. Let's have a look. I say a lot of you will remember this case, even though it was a long time ago. I'm going to put a picture of Caylee up as I'm reading it out, actually, because the only good thing is people are remembering Caylee. So this is little Caylee, 2 years old, beautiful little girl, happy little girl, murdered, brutally murdered, duct tape around her mouth. You know, whether it was just to keep her quiet and that she died by accident, I have no idea. But she was murdered. Somebody murdered her. And Casey Anthony, her own mother, went off on a month-long sort of, instead of reporting her missing, went off on her jollies, partying, drinking with her boyfriend and his mates, dancing, having a brilliant time while this little girl was missing. And eventually she was found murdered with her mouth duct taped. So, yeah, we remember Caylee. Anyway, let's have a look at the AI overview of the case, just in case you don't remember it, because it was quite a long time ago. Some of you might not know about this case. So Casey Anthony is a Florida woman whose highly publicized 2011 trial. So, 15 years ago, the trial was for the death of her 2-year-old daughter, Caylee, resulted in a controversial acquittal. Today, she maintains a presence on social media, occasionally sharing updates on platforms like TikTok and Substack, where she discusses legal advocacy. Oh my God, the irony. So, 2008, Casey's mother, so don't forget, it was never Casey who reported her daughter missing. It was her mother, the grandmother of Caylee, reported 2-year-old Caylee missing after Casey continually delayed showing her the child and gave excuses for over a month. In October 2008, Casey was charged with first-degree murder after police detected signs of human decomposition in her car boot. Caylee's skeletal remains were discovered in December 2008 in a wooded area near the family's Orlando home. So she still had the duct tape round her mouth, just tossed like rubbish into the woods and left there. But in July 2011, a jury found Casey Anthony not guilty of first-degree murder, aggravated child abuse, and aggravated manslaughter. She was, however, convicted of 4 misdemeanor counts of providing false information to law enforcement. Because the other thing that she did, she first told the police that the babysitter had the baby. This baby, and she made up some woman that wasn't even real and blamed it on them. They had Caylee. Nothing to do with her. She handed, because she'd had normally her mum, Caylee's grandma, would have had Caylee when Casey went off partying. But they'd had an argument. So what Casey then said was she had a babysitter for Caylee and the babysitter had her. But this turned out to be not true. This babysitter didn't even exist. How was this woman found innocent or found not guilty? How? So despite all those lies that she told, she was found innocent. She must have had a good lawyer. I think she was having an affair with her lawyer. I can't remember all the details. The other thing we have to remember about Casey is the person, the biological father of Caylee, or the guy who thought he was the biological father. It turned out he wasn't the biological father at all. So she'd lied about who the father was to the father himself. She's got a history of, taking husbands away from their wives. She's just not a nice person, but she is now. So according to her now, she's a lovely person now. She's just concerned with love and gay rights and, advocacy, legal advocacy. Suddenly she's a fucking brilliant person, even though she murdered her own daughter. These sort of people just make me mad. I mean, just own what you've done, whatever, or if you're not going to own up to it, just keep a low profile. She's like Huw Edwards. They're like peas in a pod. They should get together, shouldn't they? Of course, he's because he's not gay. It's only a mental illness as far as he's concerned. So he'd be perfect for Casey, wouldn't he? Perfect couple they would make. Just sometimes you're just beyond words, aren't you? These people, just can't believe it. So anyway, let's have a look at her Substack. If we must. But we must, because we have to know what these people are like. Oh, so she's made a statement a little bit like what Farage said. Now, she's also planting herself. She hates Trump. That's one good thing. And she's talking about the Epstein files. Since there is a continued suppression of public information on certain platforms, TikTok, this goes to you. A friendly reminder, there are still 300,000 files associated with Jeffrey Epstein that have not been released. Do you know, but it's hard for me, I agree with her, and it's hard to read this, knowing that the Jeffrey Epstein files are about abuse towards children and she murdered her own daughter. Hard, isn't it? So she's very anti-Trump, anti-MAGA, anti-white men, moaning about, look at this, TikTok is back on their bullshit. They took this down. It's been appealed and it's going back up tomorrow. I'm going to repost this over and over again on every account. Fuck TikTok, fuck Donald Trump, fuck the blatant suppression of free speech. They don't want Donald Trump being compared to Hitler and Stalin, no matter how much evidence we have to support it. I will be even louder now. Let the games begin. And you'd read that and you think, oh, that's brave. And then when you remember who it is, the child murderer, you're speechless. So this is her blog, The Real Caylee Anthony. The Real Caylee Anthony. Just beyond words, isn't it? Researcher, consultant, advocate, activist, author, LGBTQIA and ally. We are the resistance. We do not bow to mediocre white men. So she's aligning herself with the gay community and the black community, I suppose. Now, the real reason she's doing this is because she's got a book coming out soon. This is her book coming out soon. Who is she really? It's called. Well, we know who she is. She's a child murderer. That's who she is. Not according to her, though. Who is she really? My name is Caylee. Is there any name is Caylee? Let's see what the comments are. Now, she has a loud comment. Oh, no. Comments on this post are only for paid subscribers. That's funny, isn't it? You can only comment if you're a paid subscriber. It'd be worth paying to subscribe just to tell her what you think of her, really. So 11 years ago, love wins always. Oh my God. Oh, I'm sorry. Any of my gay followers out there, please tell me, how do you feel about this? How do you feel about... Well, I can't say convicted child killer because she wasn't convicted. What the hell is going on? So she's sort of restacking and talking about things. Look, about ICE. Make it make sense that you can face more time in jail. Oh, hang on, I need to share it. Make it make sense that you can face more time in jail under this administration for picking up paint chips from the reflecting pool than raping or molesting a child. You can be shot in the street for peacefully protesting, for recording ICE agents, called a terrorist by the DOJ, and yet more than 1,500 members of the MAGA party were pardoned and rewarded for their intentional attacks on government buildings and government officials. There is more value. If I didn't know who was writing this, I'd be thinking, yeah, I agree with that. There is more, but this, to me, it takes away from. Now I don't want to be, I'm thinking, maybe I don't like it that it's her who's saying it. There is more value assigned to billionaires and veterans who have served our country. We are days away from the 250th anniversary of the United States, and we're more divided today than ever in our history. The way she's talking as if she didn't murder her daughter. This is no longer the home of the free, but it will remain the home of the brave. As we continue to speak out and fight this corrupt and unjust administration. Yeah, you were really brave, weren't you, when you put duct tape around your daughter's mouth? Fuck the patriarchy. Another day, another reminder to fight for the rights of others. What about Caylee's rights? Oh my God, honestly. So, that's her Substack. She's reinvented herself. She's got a book coming out. Who is she really? She's not a child killer. And to be fair, she was never convicted of it. So we have to think of her. She's not a child killer. But we know she is, really. As I said video, the judge himself had to read through the verdict twice because he could not believe that it was not guilty. What the hell happened? There was overwhelming evidence. There were maggots in the back of her car. Maggots, where a dead body had been in the back of her car. It seems like every day I'm speechless about something these days. Life is weird. That was it, Lily. Zanny the nanny, she said, had taken a little Caylee that was with Caylee, and it must have been her who killed her. Well, you say, Kelly, who's listening to her anyway? She's got loads of followers. Loads. Thousands and thousands. Someone's listening to her. See, some people, this is why it's important for us to keep talking about this, because there will be people out there who don't know about what she's done, don't know about her court case, don't know about Caylee, and just see her. Oh, there she is. She's advocating. She's anti-Trump. She's pro-gay rights. How brilliant. What a fantastic woman. They won't know about her previous history. So that's why it's important that we talk about it and make sure people do know the truth. So, right, we're going to have a look at this. So I'll watch this. I do like Nancy Grace because she just says it as it is. We're going to watch her. She did a podcast about it. And we're going to watch it. We won't watch all of it. We're going to watch, the important bits. Because she's got all the photos there of Casey. I need to like that. When she was off having a great time. So bear in mind, a month that little girl was lying in the woods. Duct tape, dead. Duct tape over her mouth. Wrapped in her favourite blanket. With a kiss emoji thing over where her mouth was. Like a sticker. Just dumped. Poor little Caylee. And you know what? She has nothing to say about children's rights. So if she didn't kill Caylee, Why isn't she advocating for the rights of children who are murdered, like her daughter was murdered? Why isn't she doing that? Because she murdered her. That's why. We know why, really.
The return of Tot Mom. If you're of Tot Mom, TikTok stardom ahead, and go away. Good evening.
Emergency. I called a little bit ago. The deputy sheriff I found out my granddaughter has been taken. She has been missing for a month.
Yeah. This is the grandma, the 911 call to report Caylee missing. And my daughter's just told me she's been missing for a month. I mean, she's genuinely upset, you can tell, but as time goes on, I did lose sympathy for the mum, because you know what? The mum, Casey Anthony, is such an entitled brat. And the mum and dad are responsible for that. You know, they tried to, I know they're trying to support their daughter, but she threw them right under the bus. She blamed it on the dad. You know, she's a vile woman.
Something wrong. I found my daughter's car today, and it smells like there's been a dead body in the damn car.
Okay, what is the 3-year-old's name?
Caylee.
That brings it back home to the discovery, and I went and looked at the spot where Caylee Anthony's body was bagged in trash bags from Tot Mom Casey Anthony's home and thrown in a swampy area covered in trash and used tires.
Yeah, so she was put in a trash bag, thrown in a swampy area. That's what she did to her daughter. You know, just unbelievable.
Just out of a swamp. And that is where Caylee decomposed. This beautiful little girl, the shining light of her grandparents' eyes, in a swamp, decaying. And now this.
I am a legal advocate. I am a researcher. I've been in the legal field since.
I'm a legal advocate. I'm a researcher. See, she's inventing herself. People will be watching this and won't even know who she is. Her TikToks, people will watch it and they go, oh, she's a legal advocate. She's a researcher. Not a child murderer, because she never mentions Caylee. She's not advocating for children's rights, because that bring up what she did. Horrible, vile woman.
2011. And in this capacity, I feel that it's necessary, if I'm going to continue to operate appropriately as a legal advocate, that I start to advocate for myself and also advocate for my daughter.
Okay. Well, I need to see that again. That's from Casey Anthony's official TikTok account at @CaseyAnthony_Substack. P.S. If you don't know what Substack means, it means money to her in her pocket. I'll explain that. I've got to see this again.
I am a legal advocate. I am a researcher. I've been in the legal field since 2011. And in this capacity, I feel that it's necessary, if I'm going to continue to operate appropriately as a legal advocate, that I start to advocate for myself and also advocate for my daughter.
Okay, that's from Tot Mom Casey Anthony's TikTok account at @CaseyAnthony_Substack. Whoa. Legal advocate? No, you're not.
I just love Nancy, you know. I notice how she starts about justice for me first. Everything for her is me. Sorry, I just, everything is about her. You'll see later on, or if we get to that bit, you know, when they were, when the police were around at her house and the parents took out photos of Caylee, or when some reporter was around the house. And then this twonk, she's like got out the baby photos of when she was a baby and said, oh, look, wasn't I cute when I was a baby? Oh my God, total narcissist.
You were tried for the murder of your little girl. Legal advocate, my rear end. And whoa, did I hear her say she's been involved? Let me look at this. In the legal system since 2011. You mean when you were tried for murder? Joining me, an all-star panel. But I just want to remind everybody what this is really about. No one would even know her name if it weren't for this.
There's something wrong. I found my daughter's car today, and it smells like there's been a dead body in the damn car.
Okay, what is the 3-year-old's name?
Caylee, Caylee, Anthony.
Caylee Anthony?
Yes.
Okay, is she white, black, or Hispanic?
She's white.
How long has she been missing for?
I have not seen her since the 7th of June.
What is her date of birth?
8/9/2000. Oh God, she's 3. She's 2005. So it's
That is Cindy Anthony, Kelly's grandmother, calling, reporting her missing. Not Tot Mom, her own mother. Advocate for my daughter? Advocate for my daughter? Who called 911? Not you. Listen.
Casey said Danny took her a month ago. She's been missing for a month.
Okay, I understand. Can you calm down for me for just a minute, and I need to know what's going on, okay? I'm gonna try and
Advocate for my daughter. Joining me, Joe Scott Morgan, renowned death investigator, professor at Jacksonville State University, author of Blood Beneath My Feet on Amazon, and star of Body Bags with Joe Scott Morgan. Reality check. You know, finding out that Tot Mom is offering a Substack. In other words, you go listen to her and she gets money. By the way, Joe Scott, already, just her announcement has racked up over 3 million views. She gets paid for that if there are ads in there. All of that money is going into her pocket. Harsh reality.
So yeah, 3 million views. That's lots of people are listening to her. 3 million views.
No one would even know her name if she had not been charged with murdering her daughter. Tell me what happened to Caylee.
I can tell you what.
Right, I just want to give a warning here because I think he might go into some details about the body, so just a trigger warning. And yeah, the thing is, who did murder Caylee then? If she didn't do it, like you say, Kelly, why isn't she looking for the murderer? Well, do you know what? Because she said she put her father in the frame for it. She is a vile, I mean, she's, you know, we do talk about a lot of vile people, but every now and again we come up against someone who is totally vile.
The end result was all we have left now are skeletal remains, period. As a matter of fact, her body, Nancy, was so badly decayed after they recovered it from that brushy area out there in that swamp-like environment that they could not even come to a conclusion about what her specific cause of death. It's non-specified homicidal means, and it's absolutely.
Joe Scott, excuse me, wasn't duct tape wrapped around the baby's mouth and nose with a heart sticker stuck on it? That gives me a pretty good idea as to how she died. You think you could survive with duct tape wrapped around your nose and mouth?
I'll go one better than that, Nancy. It wasn't around her nose and mouth. It was around her skull. Just let that sink in just for a second. That's what was done to.
So, I knew I could have cried. So, duct tape, not only around her nose and mouth, which is bad enough, of course, maybe to smother her, but he's saying around her skull, her whole skull, covered in duct tape. And you know why? Because this twat wanted to go off partying with a boyfriend. You'll see the photos in a minute of what she was doing in that month when Caylee was missing. So while Caylee was lying in the swamp with her head covered in duct tape, decomposing, Casey was out partying without a care in the world. Oh my God. After just discarding this little girl, her own daughter, wrapping duct tape around her whole skull to kill her. That's how she will have killed her. And there was so little left of this girl that they couldn't make a definitive cause of death. But, you know, when someone's got duct tape wrapped around their whole skull, it's pretty obvious, I suppose. Poor little thing. Poor little thing.
This child, she's cast off like garbage,
Yeah.
Nancy. And then, you know, insult to injury here, we're talking a month down range before anyone says peep about her missing. And all the while, she's been out there just in a state of decay, Nancy. And as you know, Florida is a very harsh environment. There was hardly anything left that scientifically we could really hang our hats on to try to understand what had actually happened to her.
You know, just saying that, Joe Scott Morgan, and think about it. Every day, Tot Mom, Casey Anthony would pass that spot. As I said, it's about 10 houses down from the Anthony home, and you come out of their cul-de-sac, and if you turn right, well, you have to pass it. Do you know, Joe Scott, I don't think I've ever told you this. I have never been back to where my fiance was murdered. Never.
Yeah.
I don't think I could stand to look at it and know that's where he was murdered. But she passed this every day and never said a word day by day. Think about it, Joe Scott. As each hour passes, what happened to Caylee's body? When did flies show up and lay eggs? When did her flesh start slipping off of her body? I know it's harsh, Joe Scott, but this is the reality.
Yeah, you're right. And in that environment, it's so harsh down there, Nancy. And to think that this person could have moved back and forth across this and, you know, court said that she didn't know, or at least they didn't find her guilty of it. But come on.
She drove past that site where she dumped a baby girl. Drove past it daily. Didn't give a shit. Didn't give a shit. Did not give an absolute flying fuck that there lying in that swamp was her baby girl. Duct tape around her head, just dumped because she wanted to go off partying.
Give me a break. You know, you're driving by this every single day, and that precious little angel is out there in a state of decay. I can't even begin to plumb the depths of how evil.
What happens first, Joe Scott? What happens first when her body is in that bag? What happens in the first 5 hours of her body being in that bag?
Yeah, just within the first 5 hours, particularly in Florida, you're going to have the presence of flies being attracted to this area. And people say, well, she's in a bag. You know, no. Flies always find a way. They get in, and then they begin, or they kind of aid in this process of decomposition, and it's sped up very, very quickly in that environment, Nancy. And having worked in Louisiana, that's very similar to this, I've actually seen fly eggs laid on the eyes and the mouth and the nose within 3 hours of death.
Yet today, Tot Mom Casey Anthony returns to Tik-Tok stardom. Listen.
There are people close to me who have been targeted and attacked recently. There are also people close to me who have had some recent things occur. And when necessary, people needed to step up, myself included.
That is from @CaseyAnthony_Substack. Okay, I just heard her say there are people close to me that have been targeted. Like Caylee?
Is your daughter there?
I'm on the phone with them.
Is your daughter there?
Yes.
Can I speak with her? Do you mind if I speak with her? Thank you.
I called them 2 hours ago. They haven't gotten here. They finally admitted to Betty took her a month ago.
Ma'am.
Okay, they want to talk to you. Answer the question. Hello?
Yeah. So you could see that the grandma, the Gma, she is genuinely heartbroken, panicking. Where is this little girl? Listen to this bitch.
Hello?
Yes.
Hi. What can you tell me what's going on a little bit?
I'm sorry?
Can you tell me a little bit what's going on?
My daughter's been missing for the last 31 days.
And
My daughter's been missing for the last 31 days. No emotion, nothing. She does not give a flying FUCK. How was she ever found innocent?
do you know who has her?
I know who has her. I've tried to contact her. I actually received a phone call today, now from a number that is no longer in service. I did get to speak to my daughter for about a minute.
Okay, did you guys call and report a vehicle?
Oh, did you hear what she said? I managed to speak to my daughter for about a minute today. So there you go. That was a complete... How was she found not guilty? So she's on the phone there as calm as anything. You could hear how upset the Gma was. Heartbroken, panicking. Where is my granddaughter? She comes on. She's as calm as a cucumber. And she lied and said, oh, yeah, I know who she's with. I did, I've been able to get hold of her for 31 days. But I spoke to my daughter today. Total lies. She'd been dead for a month.
Phone?
Yes, my mom did.
All of that is a lie. She is describing her daughter being taken by the nanny, and today she's saying people close to me have been targeted and attacked. Really? What about Zenaida Fernandez Gonzalez? That's a real person that was attacked and wrongly named by her. That's a real person. That's a woman wandering around, minding her own business. They got dragged into Top Mom Casey Anthony's vortex. Listen, she even spells the name, for Pete's sake.
Who has her? Do you have a name?
Her name is Zenaida Fernandez Gonzalez.
Who is that? Babysitter?
She's been my nanny for about 1.5 years, almost 2 years.
Yeah, why are you calling now? Why didn't you call 31 days ago?
I've been looking for her and have gone through other resources to try to find her, which was stupid.
Okay. Can you give me the name of the nanny again? Like, spell it out for me?
Zenaida, Zenaida.
Last name?
Fernandez. Gonzalez.
Man, what a...
Spells out the name of this poor woman who hasn't done anything. First of all, she throws her under the bus. Later on, when that doesn't work, she throws her own father under the bus.
Liar. She even knows how to put the hyphen Gonzalez. There's actually a real person out there named Zenaida Fernandez Gonzalez. And isn't it true, to Shanna Butler joining me right now, investigative reporter, WFTV, Channel 9, Florida, this jurisdiction, that when the apartment where Tot Mom says she dropped off baby.
I'm going to fast forward it. I'm not going to play all of this. I want to get to the bit where she's showing the photos. I mean, obviously, if you want to watch the whole thing, let's just watch it from here. You could go on to Nancy Grace to watch the whole podcast. It's very interesting. But really, what I've got to finish in a minute, but I want to show you the photos of her having a bloody brilliant time. While in the meantime, her daughter is rotting in a swamp with her head covered in
entire 31 days that she apparently had this baby. She acted like Nothing was wrong. My point is her demeanor. What was her demeanor when you were around her, Rob Dick?
Definitely not a person who is, quote, missing.
Rob Dick, Casey Anthony's former bodyguard. Okay, whatever. I don't really want to hear from him. I want to see the pictures of what a bloody brilliant time she was having. There is somewhere. Let's try that.
Child. I mean, she never acted like that. She acted like there was nothing wrong.
I thought everything would just be fine. Well, it went from that to George Anthony molested me and my daughter. And then he killed my daughter to cover up the molestation. But there's another theory as to why Tot Mom hatched the molestation story. Listen.
So yeah, the thing is, when she got nowhere with the bodyguard, with the nanny story, she then started blaming her father for it, saying he'd abused both her and the little girl.
Cindy Anthony claims in the new special on A&E, Casey Anthony's Parents, the lie detector test, that the reason her daughter Casey Anthony accused her father of molestation is because she found out that her father, George Anthony, was the main witness to testify against her in front of the grand jury, besides the sheriff's department detective. When asked why he testified in front of the grand jury, George Anthony says he believed his daughter, Casey Anthony, belonged in jail.
What about that, defense attorney Troy Slayton, joining us out of L.A.? You gave me this big song and dance about the baby. Your old little...
Sorry, I'm just fast forward because I haven't got much time now. I've got to go.
George molested anybody.
You're calling Casey Anthony
Tell me
a murderer.
Use this platform that was thrust upon me, and now look at
a proponent for the... What? Did they ask you to be their advocate? They have enough problems with people attacking them every day just because of who they are. Nothing more. With friends like this, who needs an enemy? I don't think they want you advocating for them, Tot Mom. What, like you advocated for your daughter or your mother or your father who you continue to take advantage of? That is from Tot Mom's TikTok account at @CaseyAnthony_Substack. There's more. Listen.
My goal is to continue to help give a voice to people, to give people tools and resources that they can utilize so they actually know where they can turn to.
Now, here is the woman who is asking for your money, talking about privacy. I've never seen anything like it since Harry and Meghan and their worldwide privacy tour. Listen.
I will explain in great detail why it's so important.
Look, I don't think it's fair to bring Harry and Meghan into it. They didn't murder their 2-year-old.
For people to protect their privacy. It's not just important to public figures, it's even more important to private individuals. And with the current climate in our country especially, it's that much more important.
That's from the official TikTok account at @CaseyAnthony_Substack. Privacy. Let's see. How maintain your privacy? Possibly don't get in a bar fight.
So you just need an incident report?
Yeah. If you can send that to me, I can send it to you. That would be no problem. Yeah, no, I have it saved for stuff like this.
Why don't you file a restraining order?
I didn't have enough to file a restraining order. I had to just have actual threats. Her texting was not enough. Her showing up where I was not enough. This is enough. In front of witnesses.
I'll tell you why Tot Mom Casey Anthony didn't file a restraining order after that bar fight from our friends at Channel 6. Because nobody would believe that she was the victim. And there's more. Maintain privacy. Don't get in a bar fight.
Again, I apologize. I said non-emergency. Her friend was here. Several people that I've known for years witnesses if necessary. So I'm not trying to file a restraining order. I just want it to stop. And I know a restraining order at most is good for 6 months and it can go away. Right.
Well, we'll document the incident that happened. And I'll put it as verbal threats because you said that she keeps coming
No,
to
and you can tell she threw a drink at me.
So anyway, I just can't seem to find the photos of her having a bloody brilliant time. Dancing, taking drugs, throwing up in the toilet in that month that Casey was missing. That was what she was doing. Caylee was missing. Casey was just having a great time. She's still going to bars and getting into trouble. And so why couldn't she just keep a low profile? You know, if your daughter had been murdered. Oh, well, anyway, I've just run out of words, to be honest, about it. So there you go. I just wanted to tell you about these two twonks that have decided to reinvent themselves on Substack. Huw Edwards, the gay man who thinks he's got mental illness. And then we've got Casey Anthony, the murderer of her own child, who is advocating for gay rights. Oh my God. You just couldn't make it up, could you? You literally could not make it up. Now we have to remember Casey Anthony was found innocent or found not guilty of her daughter's murder. So we have to remember that. But anyway, you'll all make your own mind up. If you look at, I may do some more videos about this. I don't know, because I want to keep Caylee's name alive. Nobody's been held accountable for Caylee's death. You know, this little girl, one thing we do know, somebody murdered her. She didn't put duct tape around her skull herself and put herself in a trash bag and throw herself in a swamp. Somebody did it to her. Nobody's been held accountable. She was taken to court and found not guilty. And as I say, the judge could not believe it. How did that happen? You know, her car boot was full of maggots. The smell of death. Nowadays, she wouldn't have got away with it, I don't think. Anyway, this poor little girl, she would have been in her 20s, maybe graduated, got a boyfriend or a girlfriend, maybe children even, herself. And her life was stolen from her, probably by her own mother, who is now out there telling everybody what a fucking fantastic person she is, an advocate, of this, that and the other, and she's got a book coming out. I'm angry, as you can tell. But anyway, and Huw Edwards, he's another one, but she's worse. She's worse than him. Isn't she? This is her own daughter. And not only that, she then tried to throw the nanny under the bus and say the nanny had done it. And then when that didn't work, she said her own father had done it. And that he'd abused her, well, I think he's her stepfather. He'd abused both her and the little girl with no evidence whatsoever. Okay, right, I'm going. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to leave your DNA on the subscribe button, on the like button. Press those notifications. God bless this little girl. Prayers for her. Put your candles up for her. She was the victim in it all. Not her, not bloody Casey, who tell us she's the victim. What happened to her? Oh, it's terrible. What happened to me? What about what happened to this little one? Okay, I'll see you really soon in the next video. And until then, stay cool. May your God go with you. Bye.